former All-American quarterback at BYU, NFL draft pick, and Vegas Bowl champion, along with my friend Brian Logan. John Beck on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. John, first of all, congratulations on the newest addition to your Beck family, Baby J.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
I heard that you just got off the phone trying to buy your tickets to the Vegas Bowl. How'd that work out for you?
Not trying. I bought them.
Oh, they're done. It's done. It's done.
It's done. Literally, you guys were calling on the line, and I was telling them, hey, this is my credit card number. They're like, I got to go. I'm on BYU Sports Nation right now. So, yeah, I just bought them, and I clicked over and got Ben. So, yep, it was literally a minute ago I bought them.
Nice. John, I am having a baby on Wednesday, scheduled C-section. This will be my second. What do you value more right now, sleep or is it football?
It's definitely sleep. I can't even believe. I mean, those first couple of days, because I already have 3 boys, so I'm running back and forth between mama at the hospital, boys picking up from school, what the boys need, back and forth. And then, I've been out of the little, getting used to having a kid, a newborn around for the last 4 years. My last newborn was 4 years ago, so it was, oh man, the little noises, the coughs, is he choking, and you're waking up, and then all of a sudden you can't go back to sleep, and then your wife is like a zombie next to you, like, I've been up all night. You're like, oh my gosh. So yeah, I value the sleep right now.
Yes, I was like, oh no, we're good. We've done it before, and then I'm like, oh, what is happening again?
I'm nervous.
John Beck with us on BYU Sports Nation. Okay, now that you've got your tickets, BYU going back to the Vegas Bowl for the 6th time. What is your favorite Vegas Bowl memory from the 2 that you played in 05 and 06?
Well, it would obviously be getting the win. We had gone to the Vegas Bowl in 2005 and played a pretty good Cal team. And, we thought we were going to have a come-from-behind victory there. We were going on a 2-minute drive there at the end. I'll always remember, I can even tell you the play. And I remember I got hit, ball fluttered up in the air, game over. That's it. And so to then the next year be able to go play a really good Oregon defense, I think we put up like 40 points on them, something like that, to walk off winning and saying, okay, you know what, that capped off the season. We had a great season, and then we got to go to a bowl game, and we got to cap off with a great win there. That was my most memorable thing, walking off the field, knowing that was my last game as a BYU Cougar, and we got the job done in the Vegas Bowl. That was a lot of fun.
Okay, let's move to off the field. What was your favorite piece of swag that you got from those 2 bowl games?
Are iPod Nanos considered swag? Would that be considered?
Yeah,
one of the
I would consider that for sure.
I thought that was so cool. You get all those things that they put in the bag for you. You get all the gear, but then you always kind of know. Like back then, it was the Pioneer Pure Vision, I think, and they gave us like a GPS and all that stuff for our car. And anyway, I just remember having like the little Nano. And I had previously had the big, thick iPod, like the original iPod. So all of a sudden, I'm like, holy cow, like this Nano is amazing. And it's funny because now it probably just sits in some box or drawer unused with the Vegas Bowl sign. But back then, I thought it was awesome.
Oh, yeah, that was legit, man. But now we're old, John. We're getting old, man.
I know, way old.
Okay, we've been having the discussion about which team BYU would benefit the most from a national perspective if they matched up against them in the Las Vegas Bowl. Utah at one point was ranked number 3. I understand why BYU fans want Utah. It would be an amazing matchup. It'd be fun, another rivalry showdown. But is it the best game for BYU nationally compared to somebody like USC or UCLA?
I have to go with USC. I just think, in-state, there's no bigger game than the BYU-Utah rivalry, and you guys hit it right on the head. But from a national standpoint, USC is playing in the Pac-10 or Pac-12 championship on Saturday night. And if for some reason they don't win that game and they fall into playing into the Vegas Bowl, that is a marquee name. It's a school that, regardless of if they're playing on the for the national championship or not, has a huge following. People are going to know what happens in USC's bowl game. It doesn't matter what the bowl game is. USC is playing in the Pac-12 championship 1 week, and 2 weeks later playing in a bowl game. There are going to be a lot of eyes on that game. So I would love to see somehow USC come and play us, partially because I spend every single day in my off seasons on USC's campus. So I get to attend a lot of the practices. I know a lot of the coaches. That's a really good football team, a very, very good football team. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit if they don't pull off this Pac-12 championship and possibly win it. So I think for BYU, in wanting to cap off the season against a quality opponent, I don't think you're going to find a better opponent than USC.
See, John, that's what makes me nervous is that this USC team is so good that so many athletes in one-on-one matchups that they'll be able to win against BYU. And so I look at it like this: would you rather have so much national exposure prior to the game and even during the game, but come out with a loss and never be talked about for the rest of the season? Or would you rather have maybe minimal exposure and hype playing against a Utah, but go into that game and you have better chances of winning, and then now you're still in the national discussion, you're still nationally relevant because you have the opportunity to be in the top 25?
So Austin Collin and I had the same conversation yesterday on the phone, and I thought Austin's response was great. He said, I want to go play the best team I can play because I want to see, A, where do I match up? If I'm going to be a great team next year, I want to play against the best team I can right now and see, okay, where do I stand? If I'm supposed to be a great team, let me go see where I stand against a team that I know is a really good team. And second, or did I just go A and then second? I just did that, didn't I?
It's all good, man.
It's okay.
It's all good.
It's all right, man. We're football players.
We'll go to B, A to B, and then B. He's like, isn't that what football's about, right? Let me go play against the best opponent I can. Like, let me go challenge myself. And I love that about Austin, and I think that's a great response. Yeah, we can say, let's go play different opponents so that maybe we can still land in the top 25. But, let's look at the guys that are going to be the core nucleus of the team next year. What a great challenge it would be to them to go against a Pac-12 team like USC and then say, okay, hey, this is where we stand. Let's battle. Let's do this thing. One of my most favorite games from my college career was when I got to play USC as a sophomore, and they were number one in the country coming to Provo. And some people may say, well, why was that one of your most memorable experiences? They were the best team. You guys probably felt like you were going to get slaughtered. But I didn't. Not for 1 second did I think that was going to happen. I remember putting together a little highlight video to try to fire the team up because I firmly believed, hey, we can beat this team. If we can put things together, we can go get these guys. And I loved that. I loved the challenge. So I bet if you ask some of the players in the locker room, hey, would you much rather play an opponent that you feel like you have a better chance of getting a win against so you can finish the season with 10 wins and possibly in the top 25? Or do you want to say, bring on the best opponent I possibly can? I hope that they pick bring on the best opponent I possibly can because that is what makes a team great, when they say bring on the biggest, toughest challenge. I want it.
BYU Sports Nation analyst, former All-American quarterback John Beck with us on the show. John, this tweet kind of sums up the fan perspective from @CougarFanATL. Forget national perspective. I just want to beat Utah. Finish with a better record and be ranked higher than them. #bring on the Utes. Is there something to that about ending the 4-game streak mattering more than national perspective?
Of course. I mean, listen, I just bought my tickets. I would love to see USC go and play and us play them, but at the same time, if Utah became announced as the team that we would play, there would be that slightly different feeling ooh, it's Utah. I mean, heck, the punch that was thrown 2 nights ago would bring more excitement to the game. I mean, I didn't get to watch the game live. I videotaped it, and then on my phone, all of a sudden, wham, there's the punch, and I'm like, BYU, Utah. All right. So, yeah, that would be an exciting thing, of course. And I could see why, especially in the state, that rivalry is so big. And, I'd have a lot of fun texting Eric Weddle back and forth and being like, all right, here we go.
John, what's the most difficult part about preparing for a bowl game when you deal with a layoff? I know for the Vegas Bowl, it's only 2 or 3 weeks for these teams, but what's the hardest part about preparing to play in a bowl game?
I mean, I think it kind of deals with school. You're so focused on this balance that you have throughout the season of taking your classes. You want to give your best effort. I always wanted to try to qualify on Broncos, the GPA list. If you can keep your GPA above a certain thing, I always felt like I wanted to be on that list and play really well. So you get in this balance between school and football. Then all of a sudden, the season ends. Finals are happening. and you want to wrap up the school in a positive way, and you really do just kind of step out of football. The coaches, they kind of put restrictions on how much time you can be around the football offices. At least they did when I was there. So you still go watch your tape. You don't know your opponent, so you can't really, start preparing for them yet, but you just try to watch a few things here and there on possible opponents. I can remember my senior year and junior year hearing it could be these teams. So you try to dig up, hey, do you guys have any access to this or that, just to get maybe a head start. But, you're not practicing. Bronco will have the guys go in. They do weight training. They'll go out and they'll run. But your main focus is all of a sudden school. Let me just wrap up my classes. Let me put myself in a good position to end the school year. Then it's boom. Now classes are over and it's full football. So it's kind of a jump out, jump back in type feeling. And I think that could be a little bit of a challenge because you step out. Okay, now when I step back in, I want to feel like I'm in that rhythm, like I never got out of it.
See, John, I think you might have answered my next question, which was, were you one of those guys, those all-star players, those prima donnas that didn't have to run their butts off during winter conditioning, so to speak, and weight training? Or were you one of those guys like me that just worked so hard,
Oh, please.
coaches didn't really care too much about, and said, you know what, you have to make sure that you're running and throwing up here on the sideline?
I mean, in all honesty, guys, I look back at so much of what I did as a player. I probably at times overworked. I enjoyed the work aspect of it. So I definitely was not somebody that didn't hardly have to work and could just go out there and run the beep test like it was nothing, or, hey, I can just show up and, my strength is still there. And maybe it was a thing where I always felt like I had to be working because I didn't want to not do that. That even followed me on my mission. I woke up all the time to run and exercise, and I'd wake up an hour early because I just felt like I got to make sure I'm always putting in the work, putting in the time. So I was definitely one of those guys that erred on the side of doing too much, err on the side of if I'm working, I'm going to do as much as I possibly can.
I only asked because I never saw Max and Harvey, Dennis. I saw Dennis a couple times. Occasionally, I would see Dennis. But, yeah, I wanted to know if they maybe got that from, you. Usually, the younger players, they look up to the older players. So I want to see if maybe you started that tradition.
Well, no, things were different, man. When I was there, we weren't winning football games. So it was work, 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 work. Maybe it was a little bit different for the group that came in after me because they were winning a lot more. But I don't know. That kind of surprises me because Dennis was always a really hard worker. When I knew him, I'm going to have to text him now and just said, hey, yeah, Brian threw you under the bus today on Sports Day.
Oh, see, this is the thing. Those guys, they work hard when they're working. But there's times where it's like, hey, coach, I have a C- right now. I'm taking stats. You know how it is, different language. I can't be at practice till next Thursday because I have finals and all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
You know what, though? Let me tell you, from stuff I've learned in my time, especially in the pros, I've learned, you know what? Time in and time out. When you're checked in, go 100%. When you check out, man, check out. Because engaging and disengaging, there's some strength to that. There's some power to being able to fully step away and then fully step back in.
John, we've got 30 seconds left here, but I do want to bring up that the Touchdown Club of Columbus named Tanner Mang the National Freshman of the Year. In 2 sentences or less, what is the ceiling for Tanner at BYU?
It's going to be fun to find out. There's no way to know. What a way to start out your career, right? You can't ask for a greater season. So who knows? It'll be a lot of fun to see where that ceiling is.
John, we'll talk to you soon, and we will also see you in Vegas, my friend.
All right, sounds good, guys. We'll see you down there.
John Beck on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, your values, your timeline, your financial future.